Tech Cocktail Sessions, educational and inspirational talks from experienced startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders.
I'm Frank Gruber, the CEO of Tech Cocktail, also the author of Startup Mixology. All right, yeah, here it is. It's real. It's real. It's real paper. Anyway, it's been a life dream to kind of write a book. Since I was a little kid, I used to write a journal every day, and actually my parents were, most of them were, I have four parents, three out of four were English professors, so I couldn't go out and play unless I wrote a page of journal entry, and I don't know how that messed me up as a kid. It definitely played into my role in what we're doing today, I think, because that's like the early form of a blog, basically. So I would blog in a notebook as a kid before I go out and have some fun, and I obviously am thanking them for that now, as I'm able to bring it to fruition with this book. It was an 8-year process of actually coming up and writing a book. I started working on ideas, and eventually the right timing and right publisher and everything came together last summer, and I decided to write a book in 3 months, and here it is. So it was a lot bumpier than that, but it was a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's got some great stories from a lot of entrepreneurs I've interacted with over the last decade. Companies like Uber and Zappos and WordPress and Sweetgreen, and they share their knowledge with the different elements that go into starting or running a business. So super excited about it. Hope you guys really like it. And of course, I couldn't do it without the support of our team and people like yourselves coming out to our events and being a part of this community, this growing community here in Miami. So thank you, and cheers to you for coming out tonight in the rain. So as you might know, we do local news here at Tech Cocktail, so tech.co/Miami. You can get everything you need to know about Miami, and we've got writers like Camilla, I don't know where she's at right now, over there, covering the beat, so give it up for Camilla. Ezekiel is also one of where is he, in the back? He's with business development and helping kind of build out this community as we try to make it super sustainable and better tell the story here. So if you want to tweet tonight about what's going on here, it's at Tech Cocktail Miami, or MIA, and then also the hashtag Startup Mixology. It's kind of long, but you'll be able to find all the other pictures and stuff from tonight. We also, we've got some great speakers that have joined us tonight. We're going to talk to each one of them individually, and then together we're going to do some Q&A. So if you have questions, be ready for them for the kind of Q&A session afterwards. We're going to talk about some of the different ingredients that go into starting and running a business and some of the things that they've encountered, and they're going to share some knowledge, and hopefully we have some fun along the way, because we are Tech Cocktail, and we like to have fun in everything we do. So things like having a mixologist here tonight. We'll be sharing some tips on how to make some drinks. We've got our friend out in the back here, Coco. I love llamas. there I said it. I love llamas. There may be some llamas in the book. I don't know. You might have to read it and find out. But Coco's here tonight to bring us joy and take some photos with us and hang out. And thankfully, he's covered, and so you get to go hang out with him too. And then, we're gonna do a book signing as well. So if you're interested in getting it signed, I'll give you my John Hancock, and then we'll have some more cocktails and have a good time. So thank you again for coming out. I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get started. So our first, before I pull up our first guest, I want to thank our partners and sponsors. The Knight Foundation is a big sponsor of us here in Miami. Let's hear it for the Knight Foundation. Yep. We couldn't do what we do without their support and help here, and they're doing a great job, not just with us, but with other organizations, and really helping build this community here. .co, a big partner of ours as well. They're based here in Miami as well, so we're at tech.co, and they help a lot of different companies with their domain needs. We've got American Airlines as well. There's a hub here in Miami. They're a national partner, and they get us everywhere we need to go. Outside, if you're hungry after the talks, we've got Empowered Youth, which is a food truck. And I'm supposed to tell you to try the mahi sandwich. It's a new mahi sandwich, so I heard it's really good. That's what they're saying on the street anyway. And I already told you about our friend Coco, because I couldn't wait to tell you about that. So I'll tell you again, I love llamas, and there's one outside. So, all right, without further ado, Matt Hagman from the Knight Foundation is going to join us, and we're going to talk a little bit about how he's been fostering community here in Miami. So let's hear it from Matt. Yeah. Just be careful. There you go. Right here? Yeah, you can sit right next to me. Okay. Right here? Yeah, sure. We'll get cozy here. All right. Thanks for coming, Matt. Yeah. We were like literally right
Yeah,
next to
I
each
know.
other.
This is pretty cozy.
We got an entire
Yeah.
stage, and we decided to
Here,
sit that.
here,
Yeah. So that's fun. So.
By the way, so the llama.
Yeah.
But,
That's Coco.
Is this? Does the llama make appearances at Tech Cocktail events all over the country, or is this sort of a staple?
It's been known to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's been known to happen a time or two. I love llamas. I think I said that already, but it really was something that I didn't really realize I loved. When I was first started blogging, I visited a llama farm in of all places, Wisconsin, outside of Milwaukee, and saw a bunch of llamas and alpacas, and decided, wow, if this tech startup business thing doesn't work out, I could just really find a lot of joy in just being a llama farmer. And so I wrote a long blog post about it and started researching it, and maybe someday I'll have some llamas. But in the meantime, I just like to bring them out to our events. And it turns out Tony Shea from Zappos also loves llamas,
Wow.
and they end up popping up downtown quite a bit, which is perfect because I'm actually now on the llama and alpaca committee for downtown Las Vegas.
The llama and what?
Alpaca committee.
Uh-huh.
So the goal of that committee is to try to bring in more alpacas and llamas downtown Las Vegas, and we can use them for fun activities like this, but also their wool, like you can make things out of it.
Ah,
Right.
yeah. So is this the? I'm glad we have the plants for the llama.
No,
can
I think
have
it's
dinner.
hungry.
Yeah, it's hungry.
Well, it's also helping clean it up over there. It's a little rough. Yeah.
So this is the first llama appearance
Outside of
at
Vegas.
a Miami Tech outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah, llamas they're kind of hard. The only other appearance I had, actually, I had two at my wedding in Florida last year. That was not easy to do. It was last minute. But as far as Tech Cocktail events, this is the first time. So Kim, nice work on finding our llama tonight. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There are I guess there's some llama locator services. Is that right? Yeah. Right. You just need a lot of cash in a briefcase, and you can make it happen.
Well, on behalf of everyone here from Miami, thank you. I think this is the first time I've been to an event. I know this is the first time I've been to an event with a llama present.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's fun, right? It's just fun to talk about.
Well, congratulations on being a published author.
Thank you. Yeah, we should probably talk about the things that I was going to talk to you about. I'm just having
I
too
can
much
interview
fun.
you.
Yeah, I'm just having too much fun here. This is
I used
great.
to be a reporter.
Yeah, I know
so,
you did.
yeah.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to actually talk about the things you're doing here in Miami. And so far, the Knight Foundation in the last, I don't know, say 18 months has funded 50 investments or something?
Yeah.
It's a lot. You're busy.
We're probably up to about 60 by now. Yeah.
Wow. So our numbers are a little off, but that's quite a few. And I wanted to understand, why, first off, why Miami, and then why entrepreneurship in tech? What's that focus?
Yeah. So when I got to Knight Foundation about 2.5 years ago, so Knight Foundation started by two newspaper publishers, Jack and Jim Knight. And when they started the foundation, they said, we want to work in the cities where we used to publish newspapers, and they used to publish papers in 26 different cities.
Wow.
At one point, actually had the biggest newspaper chain in the country. And then they said, we want to work in the industry that we did so well, right? So a journalism program and a communities program. Well, about 6 years ago in Miami, we launched, I wasn't at Knight Foundation then, an initiative here in Miami in the Miami Communities Program around the arts. That went so well, it became a national program, right? And so sort of the third leg of the funding stool for Knight. So I arrived 2.5 years ago, and we had to come up with a whole new Miami initiative. And it was a really interesting opportunity in that our CEO just sort of said, go talk to people for 4 to 5 months and come back and tell me what you think we should do next in Miami, right? And looking around, increasingly thought, there's a real opportunity around entrepreneurship. And that sort of, as you look at really robust, innovative startup communities, Miami, as it's evolved, really has all the elements, right? And sort of we think about whether, for a long time, Miami has had things like it's enormously diverse, right? A really key component to any strong, robust startup community. Miami has significant wealth here, right? Which is another thing that's really needed. You need people who can help give flight to ideas, even if right now venture VC investing is something that's still sort of growing.
Right.
Nevertheless, sort of that sort of raw material, so to speak, sort of here. But meanwhile, we looked around at all the things that had sort of changed, even in the last 5 years. How Miami's urbanizing, right? and density is such a critical component. You know, with all living in downtown Vegas, I mean, that's sort of a key component to any strong entrepreneurial environment. The growth of our university system. Few people would think that Miami actually now ranks 7th per capita number of college students in a metropolitan area, right? So, I mean, I think most people never think of Miami as sort of a college town.
Right.
Yeah. Yet, so as we sort of ran through these different things, we thought, wow, there's really something here. And so what we thought is how we could be helpful is by trying to help sort of build the ecosystem further, right? Not by investing in entrepreneurs themselves, but by places where entrepreneurs can gather, by creating mentor and funder networks so entrepreneurs have a place to turn to get mentorship and funding if that's what's needed, by having a robust events calendar, you know, like Tech Cocktail, and we're so grateful that you're here.
Thank you.
And then, you know, in addition to that, ways to better tell the story and sort of champion the entrepreneurs who sort of comprise this emerging startup community. So with all of that together, we sort of launched in, and it's been a great ride so far.
Well, you're doing a great job.
And you know, more than anything else, if I haven't talked long enough to that one question, more than anything else, it was, you know, that Miami, it's, you know, the feeling was, you know, we don't want to bet on institutions. We want to bet on the people in Miami, the entrepreneurs, and all of our funding that sort of investing in them, right? And that, and by that I mean is that we weren't doing some large grants to large organizations. It's doing things to get as close to the entrepreneurs as we possibly can. And you know, Miami's greatest quality that I should have mentioned at the outset is that actually on a per capita basis, Miami ranks as the most, well, last year, and Nancy will correct me, in last year's Kaufman Index of Entrepreneurial Activity, Miami actually ranked #1 in the country.
Oh, wow.
Right? So
that's great.
Awesome. So that entrepreneurial sort of instinct, you know, that risk-taking, that's very much, you know,
Miami,
who we are, and that is Miami.
It's in the DNA of the city. And you have other efforts in other cities too, though. How does that tie in?
We do. I mean, so how we approach it at Knight Foundation is we try to come up with initiatives that are tailored to that particular community. You know, so it really varies. I mean, there isn't another community among the Knight communities that is so intentionally focused on building the startup and entrepreneurial community in that particular place.
Okay, great. So how do you see this community becoming more, you know, sustainable and really, where do you see it going? What are the things you need to do?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, is we need more home runs, right? Need more examples of success, because more success begets, you know, as we create those stars, those become A, the examples that inspire, but B, those also become the future funders and mentors, right? And so, and ultimately, the goal is creating that sort of pay it forward cycle. Right, that's sort of the virtuous cycle we sort of want. Is we create this network, this ecosystem, where with each success, that becomes something that becomes sort of a resource that becomes helpful to that next entrepreneur coming up through mentorship and funding. And certainly, our you know, the biggest investment we've made so far is an organization called Endeavor. What we seek to do, we have Greg right over there. If you want to learn more about Endeavor.
Hi, Endeavor.
And what they do is try to identify high potential entrepreneurs and put them through a vetting process. And then once they become Endeavor entrepreneurs, provide them lots of mentorship to help create stars, right? And turn then, as they become stars, tell their stories, championing them, and then have them sort of become future funders and mentors of the next ones coming up.
That's great.
And so, and that once we really get that going, then I think we're really onto something. But you know, truth be told, I mean, as much as we talk about what Miami can be, in so many ways, it's what Miami is already, right? We should think about it. I mean, just think in the last 8 months, .co, and Lori, you're going to speak to in a minute, $109 million, Lori, and or over here, $109 million exit. That's a company built here in Miami, right? And as Lori will say when she's up here, and Juan and the whole gang, you know, they're all in on Miami, right? And so, I hope. They're all in on Miami, right? And just as if we look at someone like Maurice Frey Jr., built a robotics company called Mako, right? Sold it for $1.6 billion. That's an idea built here in Miami, right? And he is all in. He just joined the board of Endeavor, who I was talking about a moment ago. Or look at Andres Moreno of Open English, raised more than $100 million from here, building the largest online English language learning platform in the Americas, right? So we have these stories, and he, by the way, is equally sort of enthusiastic about Miami and committed here. And so it's just sort of continuing to sort of to add on to those stories and people.
Great. Now, you were a journalist. You mentioned that at the Miami Herald. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just assuming you were generally curious then about things.
Yes. Generally curious. Yes.
About journalists are generally curious about different things.
Yes.
So I'm curious as well. Like, what if you were to start a startup today? I mean, we talk about this in the book. Being curious as an entrepreneur is important and everything. That's why I'm tying this back. But if you were to start a company today, what would it be? I'm curious.
Gosh, that is such a good question. I mean, I guess coming from journalism and having been sitting in a newsroom and watching it contract as sort of we're seeing newspapers go through this wrenching shift, right? As the whole revenue model's been turned on its head. And we're still trying to figure out how people are going to get their news and information going forward and how you can provide that in a way to support a large news gathering operation. Sort of, as reporters, we'd sit there, after deadline and sort of think about, where is this all going and how can we make something like this work?
Right.
I guess then it would be trying to do something in that space, in sort of the local news space, and trying to deliver local news and information in a way that's comprehensive, that's helped people make good decisions and be really informed about what's happening in their community, but obviously in a way that's viable so you can stay in business.
Right, totally. That makes sense.
How I would go about that, no idea.
You don't know yet because you haven't done it yet. You got to get in there and figure it out. That makes sense. Okay, great. Do you have anything else you want to share with the audience? We're going to do Q&A after this, and you can always talk.
No. I want to hear from the others.
Okay, great.
Do I stay up here?
Yeah, you're going to stay up here. You can shift down if you want, or you can sit next to me. It's up to you.
I'll shift. So you can,
All right. And then we're actually in the middle here. We're going to do a little bit of a mixology demo. So I think we've got a mixologist coming up here. Is that right? On their way. Okay. How many people like mixologists? Have anybody ever seen a mixologist live on a stage? No? Where there's a llama present? Okay. All right. What are we making? That's what I'm curious about. Who's the mixologist? You're the mixologist. Okay. What are you making?
An orange mojito.
An orange mojito. Okay. So what are we going to do here? You're going to kind of talk us through it. Do you like orange mojitos? Have you ever had one?
I've never had an orange mojito.
No,
but
I've never had one either.
Oh, sure.
All right, we're missing some supplies, it looks like. So you can, okay, so it looks like you got some mint and some orange. Okay, you cut an orange with a very sharp knife. Put it in there. You can help me commentate if you want. What else do they do here? They got some lime. Okay. Lots of ice. No, not ice. No ice. No. Lots of sugar. That's like a pound of sugar. This is a sugary drink. And then what? A mint. Do you clap it? Do you ever do that clap? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, here. Does he want the mic?
Yeah, he might want a mic. Do you want a mic, or do you? He needs both hands.
He needs.
Yeah. He's clapping. See? There you go. I can smell the mint. I mean, it smells good. All right. We need more supplies. What are we missing?
So Frank lives in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Right, in downtown Vegas. So I'm curious, what is your drink in Vegas?
My drink in general, I actually love Bloody Marys. And I'll drink a Bloody Mary any time of the day.
Wow.
Is that a sign of something? I don't know. I don't know. I actually do. I love Bloody Marys, and I love just simple soda and vodka and sodas with lime.
And how did the name Tech Cocktail, how did you come up with it?
Yeah, so the idea behind Tech Cocktail, we were trying to come up with a name that would be flexible enough to be a media company, but also, kind of touch on all the different elements that come into that, and toss around a number of names. Actually, Tech Social was one that I actually wanted to use, and I told somebody about it, and he went and grabbed it, and so I couldn't grab it. And then, what's that? He did me a favor, right? Tech Social, yeah. And then so that didn't work out, and then I grabbed a bunch of others, and it just was the one that stuck. You know, like Tech Kool-Aid was in there, Tech Stir, a lot of different tech names. And this was the one that, yeah, it resonated the most because it's literally a cocktail of all these different types of people that make up that ecosystem. So that's where it came from. It's in the book, too. It talks about the story
Can't
of
wait to read it.
the naming. Yeah.
How much is the book?
$23.00. You can also get the digital version if that's your thing, too, online. So Amazon, if you have a Nook, you can get a Nook version. It's everywhere at this point. But yeah, okay, what are we doing over here? I think the drink's almost done. I forgot to ask you, what did you put in there?
Just the Bacardi rum, and I shake it up, and I'm gonna put topped it with soda water.
Okay.
And garnish with mint.
Some more mint, okay. And we're done. And do you want that cocktail? You can drink that. Do you like those?
Sure, I'll try. I'd love to.
Handmade, right next to you. Perfect service. All right, so while he continues that, our next guest is Lori Ann Wardy. Yeah, they typoed it on my sheet. It's Wardy. Come on up here, Lori. All right.
Thank you.
It's one of those things, it's like, I only read what's on the teleprompter, but I know your name, so
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
I just want to clarify that the drink we just made was orange mojito.
Oh, it's a mojito.
Mojito. Compliments of your friends at .co.
.co,
It's
nice.
It's our official drink.
That's your official drink.
Yes.
I did not know that, but now
Yes.
we know. How is it? You have to say it's wonderful. You know that, right?
Is it good?
Oh, I have to try.
Oh, he didn't. You got to pass it along.
Oh, here it is. I thought I already did that. So I'm already on autopilot. All right, so first off, congratulations. I haven't seen you since the big news.
Thank you very much.
Super exciting.
Very exciting.
So you pretty much at this point retired, right? You're not.
It's been a long journey and tiring. But
Yeah.
before we even get into this, I just
Yeah.
want to say to Matt, because I moved here 4 years ago, and when I moved here, the world in Miami was radically different than it is now. So kudos to you and on what's been created in these last 4 years. It's been really exciting to behold. So
Thank you very much.
anyway.
So yeah, so you were new to this area. You know, Juan from .co was here too, right? He'd come out here to start.
Well, he grew up here.
He grew up here, and you were coming up with this idea of creating a new domain, .co, and that was about you like it or okay.
Community drink. Community drink.
That is good. It's really good. Do you want some?
Sure, why
Okay,
not?
you might as well.
Everyone else is doing it.
Yeah. That's how it starts, right? 14 later, we're all like, this is the best panel ever. I'll put it over here. Yeah. Never actually done this. It's ironic. Like, we've never actually done the drinking on stage before. It's kind of weird,
fun.
right?
I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, .co. So the drink, this is Mind Eraser. So you came here, you started this, you had this idea of creating this new company. There were probably some hurdles along the way. This book, it talks about the harsh realities and some of the things, you know, as you start a company, there's ups and downs. Can you talk about some of the directional changes and things that you guys encountered early on?
When we started, there were a lot of hurdles, actually.
Yeah.
If you can imagine .co,
Yeah.
2 letters,
Yeah.
1 letter less than .com.
Way shorter.
So it sounds great now, but when we were starting,
Yeah.
there were people, many people,
Yeah.
who suggested that .co, the entire domain extension, was merely a typo of .com. So, and that was not a few people, that was a lot of people.
Right.
They also said, you know, why do we need another domain extension? The world has .info and
Right.
.mobi and .tel and .this and .that, and none of those have ever been meaningful for people starting new businesses. Why do we need another one?
Right.
So there were all sorts of naysayers and people who were very quick to tell us how this was just going to be, you know, oh, we're going to try to just sell the names to everyone who has a .com to scare them that somebody else is going to get their name. And so we had all these sort of naysayers telling us why it wasn't going to work, and we kind of had to shut everything down and have a bigger vision and try to make sure we stuck to our vision for it.
Let's talk about that for a second. So you had a bigger vision and a brand, building a brand. Like
Right.
you guys really built an amazing brand in a very short time. Can you talk about like how you approach that?
Yeah, so it kind of happened in an iterative way. When we started, we knew for sure that we didn't want to be just another utility like .com, .net. If anyone, how many here have ever bought a domain name? Okay.
Bought several.
All right. So everybody.
Yeah.
So when you go to buy a domain name, what happens is you go to a website like a GoDaddy and you type in the word you want, and then all of a sudden comes a drop-down box of .this, .that, .whatever. And there's no distinction between one thing or the other. You have no idea why should I get this versus that. The only thing you know that you've heard of is .com. The rest, it's all just a big mess. And the only thing that those domain extensions ever compete on is price and where on that drop-down box they fit. And the only time you ever hear from those domain extensions is when it's time to renew your name. Right. And so we said we want to do something radically and completely different. We actually want to create a brand around .co that is not about 2 letters to the right of the dot or letters to the right of the dot, but it's about building a community, helping people to succeed in building their businesses, and instead of making it about just a domain extension, the relationship with .co really kicks off when you buy your domain. Right. That's when we really start to get to know people and start to build a relationship with them instead of to get them to buy the domain. Right. And so I think one of the things that your book is all about, and that you mentioned as well, which is celebrating success, I think that's kind of how our brand started to evolve. Is when we first launched, as I said, we had all these hurdles, and it took about a year before we started seeing people building sites on .co. We had a lot of people buying domains in the first year, but it took...
Was that terrifying?
It was
like
terrifying,
a year of silence?
Yeah, it was a year of silence because it takes people time to build sites, and then we would go on Google on a regular basis to try to find these sites. Right. And what would happen is we would literally stalk our customers. So when we would find somebody that had built something on a .co, we would email them and call them, and our CEO would write them a personal note. Hi, I'm the CEO of .co, and great that you built your site on a .co. Can we take you out to dinner?
I mean, we would
take people, and people would be like, why is our domain extension contacting us? And so we would then follow them on Twitter, and if something happened to them in the news or on their Twitter feed, we would tweet it to our world, and we would write them a congratulations note. So I think celebrating the success of the startups that we would find helped make people pay attention to us. Like,
help build your brand.
Because startups all need someone to believe in them. Right. And it's so hard to get anyone to pay attention when you're just starting. We know because when we got our first little piece of press, we were so excited. So we felt like, for us, we wanted to be that champion for the startups on .co. So that's kind of how it started, just building a community one person at a time, one organization at a time.
No, that's exactly right. And the book does touch on that. Every chapter has a bit about how to use celebration to kind of motivate both your team and then externally as well. I feel like that's an underutilized tool for motivation.
And it's just really authentic, because when we would actually find these use cases, or when we would find out this year we had such amazing things happen to the co's in our community. Some of our users have gotten $100+ million in funding, or been noted in media as like top 30 under 30, these just great accolades. And so we get as excited as they do. We feel like they're our kids.
It's a team success. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That's really great. And I hadn't seen other domains ever take that approach, so that's why I wanted to talk about that. And so fast forward, you guys just got acquired. How old is the company now?
4 years next week. 4 years. It's our 4th birthday on July 20th.
That's pretty amazing. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
So one of the things you really focus on too is partnerships. Can you talk about, as a startup, how did you approach that? And what are some things maybe some people can learn?
I think this is I think partnerships have been a key facet of our success. As a small company, I think we had 15 people at our maximum here. We had a limited budget and limited capacity to spread our message and to spread .co around the world, but we're in 200 countries with over 1.7 million names registered.
And your team is?
And our team is 15 people.
Right.
So we were able to do that by partnerships with people like Tech Cocktail, with Startup Weekend, with Startup America, with Global,
startups.
500 startups. So what we
over here.
Those are some of our partners, and those are some of our customers. So it's a mixture of both partners and customers. But what ended up happening is I think the key word I would use here is sort of building authentic relationships.
Right.
And because we're partners with you guys, we don't do partnerships like a lot of other companies where there's sort of a checklist and you'll do these 5 things and we'll do these 5 things and
Right.
if it goes outside the lines, then we better renegotiate our contract.
Right.
We basically come up with, what is it you're trying to achieve? What are we trying to achieve? Are we simpatico? Are we trying to go the same places? If we are, let's just keep finding ways to help each other.
Right.
Let's totally over-deliver on everything we both want to achieve. And even if it's not in our contract, if there's
Right.
ways we can help you, we will. If there's ways you can help us, you always do. And those are the kinds of partnerships we've created. So now we're at the point where we have partnerships in many cases where we don't even spend $1. It's
Right.
more about just goodwill
Right.
with one organization helping another, building each other's communities and helping each other to grow. So it's been really amazing, and partnerships are incredible force multipliers for any small company.
Okay, that's really good. Obviously helpful for anybody trying to start up. I think
Yeah.
partnerships are things that people forget about as you try to distribute your stuff. Okay, so one other thing I want to talk about was the exit. That's a big part. It can be a part of your success. Some look to exit, some look to IPO, some want to just run a company forever, sustainably. So you guys went the exit path. I want to could you share a little bit about how that, how you approach that? Is that something you were looking to do? Is that something you planned? Is it, how did you approach that?
So it wasn't a plan.
Yeah.
We had been approached by a couple of companies interested in investing, and the timing in the market was really appropriate, so we couldn't help but explore it further.
Right.
I don't know how many of you are familiar with sort of some of the changes that are happening on the internet, but in the last year, the internet, with the ICANN, which runs the internet, basically radically changed the scope of the internet, so that about 1,000 new domain extensions are going to be launching in the next year or two.
Right.
Some 100 have already launched. I don't know exactly how many, but you're starting to see now. If you go to GoDaddy, it's no longer .comnet, .org, .co, and like 10 others. You're going to see .guru and .shopping and .shoes and .this and .that.
Wow.
So there's already hundreds.
Yeah.
There are going to be over 1,000.
Wow.
And
Lots
so,
of choices.
Yeah, lots of choices. Lots of fragmentation in terms of trying to get attention and time of your customers and mind share.
Right.
So for us, as a small company, it made a lot of sense to work with a company that had a much bigger global footprint, had a lot more funding,
Right.
could help us get more, inroads into partners around the world for channel distribution and things along those
Right.
lines.
So that's the
it was
game
very
then.
strategic.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. If you're a startup, how would you approach that? Do you have any advice for anybody?
It depends on what your goals are. It depends
Yeah.
on where you are in your life cycle. But I think the most important thing is not to start up looking for an exit on your startup.
Right.
To start up because you want to achieve something, you want to build something great. And over time, as the path progresses, the right exit might be to seek an exit of that nature or some other type of exit. But I don't think you should start looking to exit because you'll never have the same passion in building the business or the same ability to build it authentically if you're always looking to get out.
Right.
So
You got your eyes on the exit.
yeah.
Right. Literally. All right. Great. Thanks. Let's hear it for Lori. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Now we're going to make another cocktail. If our mixologist comes up here, what's our next cocktail? Does anybody have an idea? Guesses? Audience guesses? Bloody Mary. That would be good. I don't know if that's coming, though. Shall we wait for them or keep on? Okay. Oh, it looks like there's a little bit of bubbly.
Is this the first time you've done this to mix
Yeah.
2 drinks between interviews?
Yeah.
First time.
It's fun. Yeah, this is the
Wow,
first time.
Llamas
We felt-
and drinks on
yeah,
stage.
Yeah. We just. This is the direction. This is the direction it's going, I guess.
I have
Yeah.
a picture with a llama from a prior event.
Yeah.
It's a big hit with my friends and
Oh
family.
yeah, it's fun, right? It brings joy to people's lives. That's what we're really about. So that's why I like it. All right. So it looks like they gave me a whole bottle, so we don't need to mix it. We'll just drink right out of that. Oh, you've got something? Okay. Looks like you got some Sunkiss. You got a nice little fluted glass.
Unicorn Fuel.
Oh, I'm very familiar with this. Unicorn Fuel. How many people have had Unicorn Fuel before? Yeah, it's good stuff. You've had it, yeah.
Sunkiss. splash of that, and topped it with Prosecco, champagne. And
Keeps you going, just like the unicorn. And who wants to be the first to try the unicorn fuel? Okay. There you go.
Is it going to be communal?
If you want, I've already got you. Here, I'm going to cheers you. No, I'm just cheersing you.
Oh, you're cheering.
Yeah,
How would you
cheers.
take it?
Oh, no, I'm just cheersing you. There you go.
Cheers.
Let us know how it is. Yeah. We can make these drinks over at the bar afterwards, too. Yeah? I know what the unicorn fuel tastes like. It's delicious. Yeah. Keeps it going. You can have it if you like. Okay. All right. So next up, we've got Hugh McLeod. He's from Gaping Void. I mean, yeah, you got a lot of fans here. All right. So pass that mic, and you guys have that mic. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Hey, Lori, I was just thinking, when I think about like domain names, well, if you're a .co, that's actually the only domain name that actually that's actually emotional.
Yeah.
Like it says, we're a scrappy little startup and fuck you, as opposed to .com, which is generic, or .net, which is generic, or biz, which is really generic.
Yeah.
Or info, which is so generic it makes me ill to think about. But if you get .co, that means yeah.
I'm going to take you on the road with me.
Okay, I'm just saying it's just like attaching emotion to business outcomes.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Attaching emotions to
A domain name.
you know how hard that is? So kudos.
Thank you.
I was putting it up.
Appreciate that.
Sorry, Frank.
No, it's okay. This is fun. We're having fun, right? That's the main thing. Thanks for joining us.
Oh yeah. Oh, thanks for coming all the way to Miami.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And you're here. You're based in Miami.
I am. I've been here. I've been living here full time 4 years. I started coming here on business regularly about 10 years ago, and then I was living in Texas. So my business partner Jason, he's from New York. Mm-hmm. Jason, say hi.
Hi, Jason.
And it was just easier for me to come. And eventually, we decided to be in the same town. It's easier for he had a condo down here, so it's easier for me to be in Florida than for him to be in Texas. Mm-hmm. So it worked out. And
Makes
then I
sense.
met my wife here. And
Oh, perfect. And you like it?
oh, I love it. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a kind of an interesting story that ties into the origin of Tech Cocktail, and I wanted to share it with the audience because I think it's kind of interesting, and here we are 8 years later. So the first Tech Cocktail was hosted in Chicago. It was 2006, July 6th, so just a few days ago was its 8th anniversary. And it was you were doing something with a wine brand called Stormhook.
Yes, I was. In fact, Jason's he was the owner of that. We were doing social media with we were like the first consumer product that actually used blogs as marketing.
Yep.
And we decided this was the future. So what we started doing was we started sponsoring. They're called geek dinners back then, but like tech meetups like this. Mm-hmm. We were the first alcoholic beverage to sponsor that, mm-hmm. and it became quite. People thought at the time they thought it was such a weird idea that a brand would actually sponsor a geek dinner or a blog dinner or whatever you want to call it. And now it's fairly common.
Yeah, no, but back then, so you were doing these dinners all over, and you basically posted, hey, if you want to host one somewhere, let me know.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
we were doing Tech Cocktail. We were like, wow, this would be great to have Stormhook at our event. Little did we know the venue that we had chosen had just opened and didn't quite have the liquor permit that they needed yet, license. And so it turned out the wine that you sent, which was boxes and boxes, ended up being the only beverage served at our event. It was a dry event other than your event. You basically saved Tech Cocktail.
There you go. Well, that's what we like to do. make a big difference.
You sent some drawings as well. I mean, some of the
we made prints. Yeah. That's kind of commemorative prints. I'm an artist.
Yeah.
And so we sent cases of wine, and we sent like a Stormhook related print, and that was like back then the social media making marketing history was actually, I wouldn't say easy, but it was a lot easier to do. Because nobody else was doing it, mm-hmm. So we were pioneers, yeah. But
definitely.
Then the tsunami happened. So.
Right. So let's talk about how you got started, because you weren't always doing cartoons full time, and I want to talk about kind of how you've pursued your idea and passion, because in the book that's kind of what we're talking about. Okay. How do you take that idea and turn it into something?
Oh, well, you need lots of time and patience, I think.
But what were you doing before that? You were doing something else. And
it's a really roundabout. I started out, I drew cartoons in college, and that was fine. Didn't pay very well. Mm-hmm. And then I got a job in advertising, which paid better, but my life was hell.
I mean, you were working at a big agency.
Yeah,
right?
It was like Mad Men, but worse.
Oh.
In Mad
Men,
a
suit every day, like
yeah,
that kind of. Wow.
Yeah, but Mad Men, they actually sell their advertising.
Yeah.
I'd go. I was failing on so many levels. And then I ended up in New York. Mm-hmm. And then I got into blogging, and I started posting my cartoons online.
Did you start on business cards, though, or something?
Oh, yeah. I started drawing cartoons on the back of business cards.
Right.
And I did like 10,000 of them. Literally, I've done over 10,000 of them, and they're in my vault.
Wow.
And I started posting them online. And then I started working with Jason.
Yep.
And then Jason sold the business, the wine business. And we started publishing art together. And as opposed to just saying, well, who wants to buy my lovely art? I think I'll spam my friends. Which is how most artists do it. We decided to, our best customers started being businesses. And when I say businesses, I mean all of them.
Right.
From tiny startups, like TechCrunch, for example, to big ones like Microsoft. Mm-hmm. And we started getting like a very early tech following. I think that's because a lot of techies were in social media. And also, techies tend to be quite clever and quite hip, Mm-hmm.
Can I just say that I got some posters of yours from Rackspace.
There you go.
Several years ago.
There you go.
And they're in my office. So when I saw your name here, I was very excited to meet you.
Groupie.
Total groupie. So for those of you who haven't seen his work, you should immediately go to his website and check it out. It's really awesome. I wanted to hire him several times, but I actually thought Rackspace would get upset because they're our partner. And I thought they would think we were copying them, so I didn't do it.
Well, we actually like you a lot, so talk to Jason. Jason. Anyway, but the and so we start like Rackspace is a big client. So we do a lot of we kind of off the record we call them motivational art for smart people.
Right.
But we do art with the kind of that talks about company culture and talks about the kind of hard stuff.
And you do it through these drawings that
drawings. Yeah. And so what we'll do, the company, the team will go in and say, okay, what's wrong with your company? And then go, oh my God, that bad, huh? And then we'll make a list of everything, all the big issues in the company, and we'll kind of, and I'll turn them into a suite of work. And that way, like a very good example is like what I did for Rackspace, which is just like a cartoon that just says, if you're here just for the paycheck, don't expect to last very long. Now, what's interesting about that cartoon is on the walls, the people who are just there for the paycheck hate that cartoon.
Right.
And the people who are there for a higher purpose love that cartoon.
Yeah. And
management can tell what kind of person you are just by your reaction to watching that cartoon.
Right.
And that's what I mean. You can kind of say, okay, I'm gonna put this thought into the ether, because see, art you don't have to buy a TV commercial. You can just like put it like in the bathroom. And if it's good, people will see it and talk about it. And you can see how people react to it. So art's a very good way. We call it attaching emotion to business outcomes. Because, okay, who here, every time, no offense, but every time a friend has a new book out and sends you a copy, you go, oh no. Oh no.
You can be honest. It's okay.
Please don't make me read another fucking business book. Oh no. Oh no, I don't. or like, I love Harvard Business Review, but how many times you just want, oh no, I don't want to read this. Because most business art stroke literature stroke whatever you want to call it, it's actually fairly dry. And I think it's if you can take the drive, if you can make like business, if you can like talk about business or make art about business or write about business in a way that isn't like bloody boring.
Yeah.
Then because actually business, people say, well, why is an artist so obsessed about business? And it's like, well, the thing is, what do art and business have in common? And basically, they're things you use to ask the question, or things we use to ask ourselves, well, what is possible? Why are we here? What are we trying to get? What are we actually trying to do with our lives, for God's sake? Mm-hmm. And you can express that by how you run a business. You can express that. You can express that by how you write a sonata or make a painting. Mm-hmm. You kind of grapple with these kind of fundamental truths. And that's where art and business kind of actually mesh quite nicely. And to me, it's glaringly obvious, but to a lot of people, it's kind of weird because they never thought about it before.
Mm-hmm. So you have fun with it?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, for all the agonies of business, and they're plentiful, mm-hmm. it's actually quite joyous, really, when you get it right. Even on a bad day, it's quite amazing that you get to do it.
Where do you find your inspiration in your
watching other people fail?
You find inspiration from failure.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Other people's failure, not my own. Just kidding.
Yeah. Were you though?
No.
I don't know. That could be a drawing. I don't know.
No, but I mean, just the kind of trying to get the idea of trying to get something done. I get somebody once called me like Dilbert for people whose jobs don't suck, which is quite nice. Mm-hmm. But the thing is they never get anything done, and actually try to get stuff done, it's actually quite hard. I mean, it's quite hard to get, as opposed to just turning up and hating your life and hating your boss and hating your job and hating your wife and hating mm-hmm. your commute. That's easy. But actually creating something worthwhile that's lasting, it's really bloody hard because most people want to kill you or at least put you out of business. Mm-hmm. And so there's a kind of like, and to actually have to make a go of it is actually, you're actually kind of grappling with like a very existential thing, I think. Why am I doing this? I could be asleep right now.
Yeah.
I could be watching Game of Thrones reruns. Mm-hmm.
So part of the book is actually, and if you do get this email, I'm sorry, that says to read the book. It's on autopilot at this point.
I know, the timing was off. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. You have books too. I'm sure you sent.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm the same disease.
Yeah,
trust me.
But this one talks about celebration as a motivational tool, and we talk about failure too as a big, like the harsh realities of it. And you just touched on failure and how it helps teach you lessons, and you like to pull stories and drawings from that. Do you ever do the same on celebration? Like, do you feel like companies don't celebrate enough or use it as a tool?
No, the trouble with celebration, you look at, who here watches the Olympics? Actually, I don't, but...
You're just baiting us at this point. No. Who here likes to go outside? Okay, who doesn't?
But the Olympics, in the ancient Olympics, they used to give you, they didn't give you a gold medal, or Nike didn't give you a contract. Mm-hmm. The only thing you got was a little laurel wreath to put in your head.
Right.
Which cost about 20 cents to make and would last about 3 weeks before you had to throw it out. Mm-hmm. It was very fleeting. Mm-hmm. It was a symbol of the fleeting nature of business. See, celebration is really hard because it's very short-lived.
Yeah.
You can celebrate for like half an hour.
Yeah, and so then you go and move on.
Yeah, but when you fail, you can just dwell on it for years.
So you
it's
enjoy
lasting.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, no. I think it's kind of. I think celebrating is very. I prefer to be in a situation where I can be very grateful every day just to turn up and do work I love.
Yeah.
And just, please, Lord, make it last. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of more of a silent thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that part of the celebration of even thinking that, like, we all post photos, right, of things that we like. And like, hey, we have food today. Awesome. I took a picture of this cocktail. That's me saying thank you in a way, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And people who are like 100%, 110% stoked all the time are really annoying. Unless you're Gary Vaynerchuk, he gets away with it. But people who imitate him are really annoying.
Right. Yeah. So don't be annoying.
Yes. No, okay. But no. I mean, I think you can be. that whole thing where we're crushing it, we're stoked 110%. It's like
that's not real.
It's not real. It's
No.
just like, shut up, boy.
No, it's a roller coaster. And I think that's what we try to talk about, in the book in general, with really real people sharing their stories about the ups and the downs, and then using motivation.
How'd you like writing a book? How was that? I mean, I know you like to write, but writing a book's not the same as writing a blog post. Right?
No, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, and trying to do it while running a company. I would not advise any. It's stupid. It's really dumb. But we did it, and it's now out there. So I think,
Why do you think people write books besides brand building?
I actually did it because it's been a bucket list thing for myself, but also, and I pull this from Jason Fried.
I love Jason Fried.
Yeah,
great books.
He told me something a couple months ago. He's like, if someone asks you something 8 or 9 times, why don't you just put it in a book and sell it? So yeah, it's a good idea.
Oh.
So part of that, it took me 10 years to get to the point of actually starting a business on my own. I was in the corporate environment doing, things for bigger companies, and I had to figure it out on my own, and I wanted to try to jumpstart others' careers and try to help them, both internally if they're in a big organization, as well as if they've got an idea. And a lot of people have ideas.
How many cities is Tech Cocktail in now?
We do events in about 35. We're trying to get to
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Boise, Idaho, Des Moines, Kansas City.
Okay.
We've done some stuff in other places.
It's funny. It's funny because you were saying you said in the last 4 years Miami has changed a lot. I got here 4 years ago, and it's well, I agree with you. No.
Right. We agree to agree.
It's not so much that.
Yeah.
No, it's not so much that, but I mean, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Chicago, I've lived in London, I've lived in Houston, I've lived in Austin, I've lived in Los Angeles, I've lived in, God, where else? I've lived in Marfa, yeah.
Fargo?
No, Marfa in Texas.
Oh, I thought you said Fargo. Sorry.
And the thing is, places like London, New York, San Francisco are like really quite oversubscribed these days.
Yeah.
Or Washington D.C.
There's a lot going on there, yeah.
And to me, I've watched cities all my life. I'm fascinated with cities, and we're such a cultural hub here. And a lot of people don't know it. We just think it's all about going to basketball games.
Well, that's a little in question at this point.
Well, that's true. Next season. Yeah. Or whatever. But I mean, it's like the city is kind of in the same way. I don't know. Wicker Park was primed as a neighborhood to take off.
Right.
20 years ago, like Chicago's kind of primed to take off as a city. It's the same kind of buzz. And I think there's also, it's never like 20 years ago, a guy like me would say, "Oh, screw this, I'm going to go to New York." But now, with the internet, it's so much easier to stay here.
Right.
And I went to University of Texas in Austin, which is like the hippest city in the world right now. But when I was there 20 years ago, I couldn't wait to leave because there are no jobs there, just like law school and the university and waiting tables, and that was it. And or working for Dell, which doesn't count. But all of a sudden, the reason, kids very, very bright kids would say, okay, as soon as college was done, as soon as the University of Miami was done, they'd go, okay, screw it, I'm going to Washington, I'm going to New York. But now it's so much easier to stay because we have the technology and we're beginning to get the infrastructure. And also, I mean, you look at Wynwood, for example. I mean, like young, bright kids, they want culture. They don't want just another bunch of knuckleheads picking fights with them on Ocean Drive. They want interesting people, interesting things to do, and so there has to be that kind of what would Tony Hsieh call it? That kind of like third place culture.
Yeah.
That kind of, it's not quite at work, it's not quite a party.
Lives work. Yeah.
It's kind of, you can just kind of.
You do what you do where you do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the downtown. They're trying to integrate that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more things, I think, for like young people, let's say under the age of 40, to just do that are interesting after the age of 50. Under the age of 50, yeah. But single people to do, and a lot more, just more reason to keep those kind of people around than there used to be.
Yeah, totally.
It's funny, just build on that for a second. When we proposed doing an initiative around entrepreneurship at Knight Foundation, of course, the question came back, why would a foundation want to spend dollars helping entrepreneurs make more money? What's the?
Yeah.
And it's actually, to your very point, it was like by sort of building a really vibrant, strong entrepreneur ecosystem. That's the way to build community,
Right.
and to build the very spaces you're talking about.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Because, not so much people like me, 'cause I'm quite settled down, but if I was like 28, I'd say, there wasn't a scene here, I'd say, screw this, I'm off to San Francisco. Because friends of mine of that age, they have choices, a lot of choices.
I agree. You want to make another drink?
Sure.
All right, let's have our mixologist come on up here. But first, let's hear it for Hugh.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right, thanks, Hugh. Oh, you want another? Oh, all right. What's our next? Oh, wow, this is looking like it's got some bourbon. Uh-oh, this could be trouble. Yeah.
Frank, can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Not to be bringing good news, but Yahoo Sports reporting LeBron left his meeting with Pat Riley. They were meeting in Vegas.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
What happened?
and he left the meeting without committing to a deal. With the
Oh,
league.
yeah.
Just not to bring the event down, but just reporting news. Just reporting news.
Let's bring it back up with some cocktails.
Sorry about that. I guess I should have left that out.
What about those Belgians, huh?
It's whiskey sour.
Whiskey sour. Okay, how many people like whiskey sours? All right.
Yay.
So we've got some, what is this right here? Bullet Bourbon. It's a frontier whiskey.
Yeah, it has simple syrup, fresh lemon juice, and some bourbon ice. Shake it up.
Did Robert just send them to you?
No, I got some from Tiffany.
Oh, Tiffany Fox. Yeah.
That's a fun sound.
I don't know where she went,
More ice.
but
Get a VP job in one of the big
I
firms
think
in
her
the valley.
dad wasn't well. I think maybe she needed time.
All right.
And then you just pour it in.
Well, I think she got as high as she could go.
Try and get the pouring sound. All right, that looks nice.
Right. I don't know where she
And then a cherry. Who's going to be my tester? I think it's Hugh.
yeah.
Hugh, you do like bourbon drinks, like whiskey sours?
No.
No?
I'll have a sip.
Okay, you can sip it. Next up, we've got Jermaine Dupree. Let's hear it for Jermaine Dupree. Come on up. There he is. Thank you, my man. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. You can grab Hugh's mic, and we'll have to share here for a second.
What do you say about .co, by the way?
Thank you. I think this is for Jermaine.
You guys share that one for the time being. And,
There you go.
You can have
all right.
All right.
Thanks for coming out here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming down to Miami. You were where were you last? You've been flying all over the place.
I was in L.A. last night.
Last night.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for flying out to be a part of this. I
All
appreciate
good.
it.
Gotta come to Miami, right?
Yep. There you go. So you come to Miami a lot?
Yeah, I live in Atlanta, so
Right.
it's like next door.
Next door. He's like next door neighbors.
Yeah, like next door.
And okay, so first off, let's just talk a little bit about what you've been up to. I mean, lately. And most folks probably know your career in music and now you're jumping into technology. But I wanted to maybe talk like most recently. What are you passionate about? What are you working on?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything I'm working on, I'm passionate about. Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of records, as always, and Global 14, my social network, and DJing, all over the world. I mean, I guess they all they all play, every week they all have their own little piece.
You're literally on tour all the time.
Huh?
You're kind of like on tour all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and so from a music perspective, what's the most recent thing you've been up to?
Well, I manage Mariah Carey, so I have.
And she has a new.
Yeah,
she has a new record
coming. She has a new record out. New single that just came out that I produced with her and Wale as well. Then I have a new Jagged Edge album, a group that I've created.
Yeah, I remember that.
Their album is coming out. That I just put out their new single. And what else am I forgetting? Who? Oh yeah, I just won ASCAP's Founders Award, which I'm the youngest person to win that award, which I'm excited about.
That's awesome.
And something else. It's somebody else's record, but we'll figure it out.
So you're doing a lot of studio stuff, and then you're touring with them too? Do you tour with them too, then, or how does that work?
Tour with Jagged or the artist?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, well, actually, and I did. I just signed a new deal in Vegas where I DJ.
Yeah.
Where I'm DJing at the Wynn.
Oh, wow.
And so my 2015 new contract puts me in every club inside the Wynn for the next year. So
Wow.
the next whatever.
You're gonna be in Vegas a lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'm there always,
Yeah.
so you can't fight that. You know?
Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about you've been in music for a long time.
Yeah.
Produced a lot of different records, your own, brought people to life, like Jagged Edge and Crisscross and some of these other bands that are out there. Let's talk a bit about what you're doing right now in the technology side. You've got a company called Global 14.
Yes.
What's Global 14 for those that don't know?
Global 14 is a social network that I basically created. It's almost like artists have fans or whatever, right? And it's like a place where, I mean, I didn't figure this out until after I created it, but it was a place that the people that came to Global 14 that wanted to be the early members, they decided to make this their home and a place that they actually almost guarded as if, you know, they don't want the shit that's on all these other sites. If it doesn't have anything to do with them, they don't want to, you know, they don't want it on this site. So they actually kind of took control of my site and turned it into what they wanted it to be. But I mean, I guess in creating this was the page that I put them on because I started getting them to, you know, I wanted to attract people that were, you know, basically liked the same things that I like, basically. Right. And I think that goes into what that word is, like. When you see the like button, I don't think people understand what that means. I think they just hit it just to be hitting it. But the like button, you should only like what you like. Don't just hit the button just to be hitting it. So on my site, if you don't like what we're doing, you might as well just get off the site because that's what it's all about. We're not talking about, you know, we don't care to talk about, you know, people killing other people and all the other crazy shit that they put on these other sites. So it's pretty much, that's what it is. So it's you know, and it be as you know, time goes, and you know, I've spoken at many of these places. As I've gone and spoken at different tech events like this, I've seen that smaller communities are starting to take over the internet as opposed to it being you having 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people on your site. Who cares? I mean, you know, at that point, you don't even want to talk to 2 million people.
Right.
You know what I mean? People barely want to talk to this many people. So it's like, you know, after a while, it gets out of control, and you just start losing, you know, the whole conversation piece just goes out the window.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
So you've been doing that for a little while now, and you've been growing that out, and you've got a number of contributors, right? So let's talk about how. So you're talking about social media a little bit there. How's that affected the music side of what you do?
I mean, well, social media at this point is basically the cream of the crop of getting all information out. Period. Right. So whatever it is that you're doing, social media should be one of the most important tools in your working effort, right? So with my business, the music business, social media was the last to be a piece that they took advantage of, and it's still the last that they've taken. You know, they don't pay attention to, like, the guys that these old guys that actually run the record business. They don't pay attention to Shazam. They don't pay attention to all of this other stuff that they should pay attention to.
Really?
So they, you know, because they continue to keep saying that the music business is dying.
Right.
Well, the music business is dying because these old guys are dying and they're not paying attention to this shit. And it's like, I mean, you know, like for me, I still feel like I'm a very much music fan of other music that's out there, right?
Right.
And the Shazam app, to me,
is awesome.
Yeah, it creates, it makes you buy music. It doesn't make you down, it doesn't send you to a link that's free.
Right.
It sends you to a link that makes you buy the
stuff.
Music immediately.
Yeah.
If who has Shazam in this room, just by hands. Okay, now, you see how many people in here? That mean you guys are buying music. It's not, I mean, as far as I know, unless y'all gonna hit me to the link that gets you the free music.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure somebody has that, but
yeah.
What I'm saying is, for the most part, it directs people to buy music, right? When I started making music in '92, we never had anything that you could walk into a coffee shop and hit a button and say, "What is that song?" And you had to remember the song, get back home. Try to remember what it was, and then go to the store and write it down. So I'm trying to, like a week later. So I'm trying to figure out how now is different. Like, how is not having that now much better than what it was before? It's just people that's not taking advantage of that. And they not paying attention to that and understanding what that actually does to better our business. So I mean, you know, I know, and there's a couple other people that do know, but I mean, you know, that's why I created my own site, because I saw that this is a lane of uneducated people in my business, and you know, the first couple of educated people are the ones that's gonna win, and I plan to be that person.
Yay.
So you basically said that the industry's changed or hasn't changed that much. There's still people up top.
Well, I mean, you can see from here. I mean, when you say, I mean, the music business has definitely changed drastically. But if you know, people buying music is still it's still there.
Still
people want to buy music. People hear music. They might hear something in here today that they never heard before, and somebody's gonna Shazam it and buy it. And
so, what lessons have you pulled from like your experiences running, you know, doing music, and pulled that into like your other startup efforts?
Well, I mean, one is just like I said. I continue to come to these. How many people in here do music, or make music, or actually have put out a record?
I actually want to do that. At
Well,
some
the
point.
numbers.
If you need,
when
if you
I-
need extra people, like
Yeah,
let me know.
You made a book. Now you got to make a record.
Right. Yeah. There we go.
right.
He said it here first. It's on record. No, I'm
So,
kidding.
but did you see what just happened? As I said, how many people do music?
Yeah.
A bunch of hands went up.
Yeah.
Then when I said how many people have put out a record, the hands went down, and
Yeah.
there was only one person in the back that I think, and then it might have been one person. Okay,
Over there, yeah.
one person over
Yeah.
there. So there's two people that make records that's in here, right?
Right.
What that does for me is it shows me how unconnected business that uses nothing but computers, uses nothing but the internet, and everything else is not connected to what's going on. And this is not just in Miami. I've been with you in Vegas.
Right.
I've been to LA. I've spoken at damn near every one of these things or events like this, right? I was going to say conventions. But yeah, so and every time I ask that same question to see how many people are in the room that are in the business that are actually dealing with this and seeing what's going on. So for me, doing what I do, it's helped me a lot, because I get a chance, an opportunity to see this and go back to my people and let them know, like, yo, you guys, you got to get deeper into this, and you got to learn, and you got to listen to what people are saying and hear the stories that come out of here. And then, you know, I try to take that back to the music and incorporate it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
A lot, but I mean, you know, it doesn't work for people that don't see it. So it's just, they just hear me talk about it most of the time.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the ups and downs of running your own business. You've been running it for a while. You started bootstrapped your way through and did it on your own. What are some of the harsh realities that you've come across? Can you remember some of the stories, like even when you first started the music industry? Things that you had to...
Which one, on the music side?
Yeah, the music side.
Well, I mean, on the music side, I started because just, you know, I was the youngest producer to ever have a #1 record, right? So that was, I started...
Still are, right? I mean,
yeah, I guess.
You've gotten older, but
I
the
guess,
record's still there.
Yeah, the record's still there, yeah. Somebody else has to come. But yeah, I guess being a record, I didn't even know that existed.
Right.
I didn't know that... I didn't even know I could be the youngest producer to make a record. I mean, make a #1 record anyway.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to break that record or make that record or whatever it was. But so being young, I had to deal with people not believing that my mind was set and in the mode to do what I had to do to get out here and make the records, and had to do this. And I think it's interesting because coming into the tech world, I had the same shit. Like, you know, I didn't graduate high school, and I didn't go by nobody's college. So therefore, you know, I'm looked at like, you know, wait a minute, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna do what you got to do? And there's a lot of questions that come up.
Right.
But I don't think that, you know, I think what I represent is what's happening in business, right? And I'm glad that y'all all got a chance to see the Dr. Dre Beats deal with Apple and all of that, right? I'm glad that America got a chance to see this, because that represents what I represent with Global 14. Every tech business out here is just a bunch of tech guys that, you know, go and hire and pay somebody like myself to bring other people in. But it doesn't really it doesn't start with the heartbeat of where hip hop and where I come from, basically, right? But this company, who has a better product than Beats, I will say that.
Yeah.
they never chose to actually incorporate someone like myself to let someone like myself know that they cared about their product.
Right.
And I think that's a very, very important piece. And that's something that Steve Jobs, that I commend him for doing, because that's a piece that he figured out early.
It's
to make sure,
connection.
the personal connection, and to make sure that the people was connected more to him and the heartbeat of what was inside the machine as opposed to the brand itself, right? And I say that to say that this is what you saw with Beats is going to happen with every company, every brand, everything that you could possibly think of. I'm telling you right now, I could be wrong, but I don't believe that, and I believe I've been right a couple of times. Everything what y'all saw, y'all gonna see the same thing. You're gonna see companies come out and they're gonna have. It's not to say that you got to go join forces with some rapper or no shit like that. Like, it could be anybody, but it's just joining forces with something that has a heartbeat and a real meaning to a culture. Dr. Dre means music to everybody in this room that's ever bought a record, right? So therefore, if you was gonna listen to something, you would trust his ears more than you would trust Jimmy Iovine's ears, more than you would trust anybody's ears, right? So it automatically puts you in a place where you're saying, this product has to be right. It's not even a question about it, right? And that's the thing that I'm saying. Whatever product comes out, there's so many products that come out where we all question, like BlackBerry and Alicia Keys.
Well, it is keys. I see the tie-in there. They do have keys. Like physical keys.
I don't even have a word for that. It's just like, for real? I mean, and I'm just saying, like, that's not, so then you watch a person like me, I'm not going to use a BlackBerry because Alicia Keys.
Right. Yeah.
What?
It's more the keyboard.
It's like they think that's like a I think you're stupid move. Like, I think these people are just chasing artists, so let's connect Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, no way. And I'm just saying, like, and you see what BlackBerry is right now?
Nowhere.
Yeah.
Over. That's what I'm saying. So with Global 14, I've been doing this for, I don't know how long I've been doing it, but I've decided to let it grow and continue to grow organically the way that it is. And I continue to do what I do best, and that's make music and create artists. And my artists continue to keep bringing more and more and more and more people to the site. So it's like 100, 200 people every day that join Global 14. And before you know it, this site will be, 1 million members at the site, and it'll be past whatever I want it to be. But at the same time, every member on the site will know that the heartbeat behind this site is built by a person that doesn't have to verify his name in order for you to know that it's true.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing.
Very cool. Very cool. Speaking about more technology, what's your favorite piece of technology right now? Is it there's something you
between what?
You couldn't live without?
This phone is going off right now.
Oh, somebody's
It's
calling
iPhone.
you?
Yeah, it's an iPhone.
Is it important? Do you need to take it?
No,
Okay.
but it's going off.
Okay. Just not
But no, the iPhone,
Mariah's
I don't
calling
believe-
you to tell you
I don't-
what's going on?
I don't believe I could ever live without my iPhone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because we can open up the panel. I think they're dying to ask questions.
I have a question for this gentleman.
Yeah, jump in there.
How does like a fellow like you with so many irons in the fire? How do you cope with that?
Yeah.
What is it?
A fellow like you with so much stuff going on. Mm-hmm. How do you handle it?
How do you do it all?
I mean, it's like a tsunami of shit coming at you.
Yeah, but you have to basically. I have basically put it on it. Like, I really use a calendar, I guess. But I mean, throughout the week, I do, music and office work, and then on the weekend it's all DJ party work, and then it's like through the week I'm doing whatever like this, and it's Global 14, and this. So I mean, it's very much staged. I'm a Virgo, so it's kind of
it's all managed.
Yeah, I'm very like this.
You have to stay quite driven all the time.
Yeah, and you gotta be very, very disciplined. I'm a vegan also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's discipline.
Yay! We like vegans. We like
That takes a lot of discipline, though, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I got here today and we couldn't find shit to eat in the Hilton. So
Any vegan suggestions in Miami?
I found them. I mean,
okay.
By the way, if we did not have these iPhones and I didn't have the Happy Cow, I would have starved by now.
Happy Cow. Oh, no.
Yeah.
That would not be good. We'll have to find you some vegan restaurants. If you have suggestions, we're looking for them.